What is a situation in your life that has shifted your perspective on how you view life now?
There's probably been a few things, but I feel like the biggest thing that's probably changed the most in my life is probably the last 18 months or so, since I've moved to America. Back in 2017, I had the opportunity to join a program that was sending a bunch of guys like myself now, sending guys in like that 18 to 22, 23-year-old range. They were sending basically showing guys over to come over here and play college football, and that opportunity first came up at the end of 2017. And I kind of ummed and ahed for a while and was just like, do I want to do this? Do I not? I wasn't really enjoying what I was doing. But then I just decided not to, and then it kind of played on my mind for probably 6 months or so. And then I got in touch with the guys, the program back home in Australia, and kind of thought, I'm still thinking about doing it. And they just said, well, just like let us know, but you can't like muck around too much because a lot of stuff happens pretty quickly in terms of these things. And then it was at the end of 2018, I reached out to them again, went down to a practice, and then it kind of just was like, I want to do this. And then it was strange, I never really pulled the trigger of doing it, and I really felt like I was letting not only myself down but the guys who were in charge of the program, just because I'd been down a few times and hadn't committed. And then again, I ummed and ahed for another 16 months. So it'd kind of been 18 months since the opportunity first arose, and I wasn't committed to. I guess it's really a no until you say yes. And then it's crazy, I was sitting at home, I was actually at work, and I was driving home, and I just said, like, F this, like I don't want to be doing this anymore. And I literally called the guys and just said, yeah, I'm in, like I'm just gonna bite the bullet. And then it really kind of just took off from there. And then it was, I kind of trained for a while. I ended up joining in July, and then had an offer from Iowa in October. So it all happened reasonably quickly, like they said. So I could see why they'd mentioned that previously, of how important it is just to be committed. And then it all happened really quickly. My coach came out in January 2020, so nearly exactly 2 years ago, and then just kind of told me about IRA. And then I guess to answer the question properly, I think the one thing that I've learned since I moved here is just there's a lot of doors that open in life, but some more important than others. But I feel like it's really important to make the most of them, and that's something I tell my little brother every day. It's just, you never know when these opportunities are going to arise. And I don't wish I'd done it sooner, but I always think, would I be where I want to be sooner had I done it? But in saying that, there's nothing I can do about it, so I don't regret it. But I feel like it's one of those things that if I hadn't done it, I'd be sitting at home back in Melbourne, probably still doing what I wasn't enjoy doing, whether it was working or playing Australian football, which I still did enjoy somewhat. But and I think it's just one of those things that I only first started to do this because I knew it was going to get me out of my comfort zone, and I really feel like it has. Like, I was never someone to leave home, or like I hated staying at a friend's house, even if they were like 2 minutes down the road. It was just an uncomfortable feeling, and I kind of thought, well, how am I going to get rid of this uncomfortable feeling? And it was one of those things you just got to take the leap of faith. And I'm so glad I did, because now I really don't even think about it too much. And my family's obviously back home in Melbourne, and I miss them a lot every day, but I know by being here I'm doing more for them than if I was to be at home. So I think like the biggest thing that's really changed for me is just making the most opportunities and getting out of your comfort zone. Otherwise you're never going to grow as a person. You're just going to be one of those average people doing average things. Yeah, so I think just being in America, it's just, there's so many opportunities that arise. It's obviously hard when because of time commitments with football and school, but it's really just making the most of everything that I can do, like whether it's going and seeing friends or family, not family but friends, that whether they're at their homes, or like I'd never been to Chicago, like this is the first time I've ever been here. So just even little things like that, I'm just trying to make the most, because I know like my time in America will be over pretty quickly. Hopefully not, but you can never guarantee anything. So yeah, kind of like I said before, it's just making the most of opportunities.
Perfect. What was the biggest culture shock coming to America, whether it was people, food, or just anything?
See, that question gets asked a lot, and it's really hard to narrow it down and specify one thing, but the food wasn't as bad as I thought. That was honestly something that I was kind of worried about coming here, just because I mean, Australia's kind of really well known for their food, especially seafood and meats. But I think coming to Iowa, which is pretty renowned for their meat as well, that kind of helps. And there's so many options over here to choose from. But the biggest culture shock, yeah, I'd have to say the food and the people, just and the language. Like, I know obviously Americans and Australians speak English, but there's a lot of words that I would say when I first got here, and people just like, what are you talking about? And then there's also words that Americans say that I'm just like, so like what? I don't quite understand that. But it's also a good way. Like, sometimes if I don't understand something, I'm just like, oh, I can just pull the Australian card, and I'm just like, oh, what does that mean? So even though it might even just be my non-intelligence.
What words would you say that people were like, what is this?
Keen. So like, I'm keen to go out this weekend, which means like, oh, I'm excited to go out this weekend.
I've never heard that.
Yeah, and then there's just like other little things like heaps, which is like a lot. Yeah, I'd say keen and heaps, because I would use them a lot, like a lot. Like, oh, I'm keen to go out this weekend. Yeah, like I'm keen to go see my friends. Oh, I'm keen for the game this weekend. Oh yeah, I'm not really that keen for practice this week. Yeah, kind of things like that.
What word did you not understand that like Americans would say? Like, you would be like, what is this?
Bet. Like when people say, alright, bet, I'm like, what? Like, what are you talking about? Just kind of like those little slang terms like bet. I'm like someone would say like, alright, bet. I'm like, wait, what? What are you talking about? So that was probably the big thing when I first came here, because I felt like that word kind of took off, which I wasn't enjoying at all.
Through the camera that you're watching right now through here, there's some kid or some adult, someone watching this video. So if you could tell one thing to that person, what would you tell them?
Get out of your comfort zone, make the most of opportunities, and do whatever makes you happy.